Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning back in to another update video. Today is going to be profit trailer and PT feeder settings update. I'm going to do it basically just on profit feeder. I'm going to go over the app settings.json folder, kind of give you guys my outlook. I did a video on where I think the market is going. I did that this morning, and we're in quite a bit of a rebound here, and this is pretty awesome to see. And we're finally seeing green, and we've broken 10,000 with Bitcoin. So, this is all really exciting. I'm just most excited that it's kind of been, and if you're used to commodities trading or trading in the stock market, this rebound doesn't seem slow and steady. But, in the crypto world, this seems really, really awesome that it's pretty steady. And we're definitely hitting these support lines, and we're touching resistance lines and then breaking through. Very healthy, it looks like to me. So, I think that's cool. And what I'm most excited about is it being sort of slow and steady on the way up. Is that gives us a lot of opportunity for profit trailer and PT feeder to just go to work. And I know a lot of people have been stuck in a lot of these big DCA bags, and don't you worry, I'll show you mine. I have no shame, and I'm not trying to hide anything, but I wanted to go on the sales log real quick and just give you an idea of some of the stuff that's been going on the past couple hours. So I started testing a couple new settings a couple days ago, and I literally went like 2 days making very, very tiny trades, as you can see here. The profit percentage was still what I was looking for, but this is like my test bot. Okay, so you guys think like, oh, you're wasting 2 full days making 17 cents a trade, and that's not the case. So just this YouTube channel, I'm going over this test bot sort of settings, and I'm gonna give you guys updates and stuff. So that's what I was doing with these new settings, and they're very, very small profit margin or profit, but good margin, right? Like with the percentage wise. And then I ended up upping the ante in my settings folder, which you can do right here in your cost. And also you'll want to update the min buy balance. And I had this set to like 0.25. And, so it's trading a very, very small amount of my Bitcoin every trade. So I changed this up to like 3.5. I've changed it to 5% before. And we're seeing some pretty good profits here. So 4% profit there. Let's see. There was a couple other big ones. Like this one was pretty nice, 3.38. And then this one we had, this was a big DCA bag we were sitting in, and we finally got out of it. And one of the reasons I was in some pretty heavy DCA bags is because I got overconfident right before the market correction, before it really went south. And I had this set to like 6% on my test bot. And, I was trading big time, smaller amount of pairs, but bigger percentage of Bitcoin for each trade. And so what happened was, and then I also had this set to really low. This was at like 7%. So I was pretty much all in altcoins. And when Bitcoin tanked, so did all the altcoins, and some of them tanked a lot harder. So I got caught up in that. Due to my settings, and that's okay, that happens. But basically one of the tricks that I use to sort of get out of it is we'll go into here. I have no shame here. So we're looking at some really big DCAs. I'd say like these 4, or what is that, 5 of them? Yeah. So these 5 are pretty big. Even this is pretty big. This is a little bigger than you'd want to see. I know it says that I haven't DCA'd anymore on these, but I actually have. So like this one, for example, Trig, I've DCA'd like 9 times, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're crazy, that's one of those shit coins. But I actually, I'll do what I want. I DCA'd this to try and lower my cost average down. And if you have a ton of money, you can continually DCA. You can up your settings, or you can wipe out your log history, so the bot doesn't know that you've already DCA'd 5 times. And you can continually DCA on the way down. And a lot of people are doing that. And then this percentage, your average percentage in gets lower and lower as time goes on. So that's one strategy to get out of it. But since I've already done that quite a bit with a couple of these coins, and I don't really want my Bitcoin tied up, because you need a lot of capital to be able to do that. So I decided instead to just go into my DCA logs and then put these coins that I don't want it to DCA anymore. I just put them into the sell only mode. And so I just put in, Loon, MTH, ADX, Trig. I put those in this category. So basically what that's going to do is it's just never going to buy more of these coins. And I'm just going to wait on them, and I'm just going to forget that they're there. And then hopefully we'll see kind of like something like this where you see a $43 trade and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Well, that came from one of my DCA bags that was in sell only mode. And basically the bot's just only looking at it to sell it. And so that's kind of what I'm sitting on with these. I know it's probably not like the trick of the century, but I think this is the best way that I found to kind of navigate these huge DCA bags. Let's see. So we'll just kind of go in, and I'm actually going to change this back to the sell page because I don't like looking at all the red. So if we look at this, I'll just go over my settings real quick. So I changed the buy value to negative 1.25. I upped my cost per trade to 3.5%. DCA is enabled at negative 4%. My DCA spread is still 2. DCA max buy times. You can increase this if you want to. I left it at 5. Let's see. DCA max cost is at 0, which basically means that you can use all of your Bitcoin to DCA. And then there's another setting which is down here, min buy balance, which is how much Bitcoin do you want to sock away and never trade with. So me, I like it lower, and I'll give you my reasons because I have other Bitcoin stored in other places that is more my like long-term Bitcoin holdings. I'm not using Profit Trailer to hold Bitcoin. So more or less, I want it to trade with as much Bitcoin as possible. But this is also a strategy that you can use because when Bitcoin goes on a really large run up, a lot of times the altcoins will start to bleed because people want to get their money into Bitcoin while it's going up. And so this is a way to kind of hedge yourself in the right direction when Bitcoin is going on a large tear. You can change this to like 90%, and then you'll be holding 90% Bitcoin and only 10% altcoins. So that's one way to look at it. Let's see. Let's keep going down the list. I have my DCA trailing buy, trailing profit here. I have those set. Let's see. And one of the reasons, just real quick, I'll go over is that I'm not giving you guys like a download file of this is because I want you to like actually learn it. So that way when the market changes, I'm updating these settings constantly. And so when the market changes, if you guys are just going in and blindly copying somebody's settings, then you don't know how they work. And then, you kind of get stuck when things turn. And so if you're actually going in and sort of reading this while you're inputting it, it may or may not, I don't know if it's going to help you, but it may or may not help you understand what's going on with each setting. And that's something that I really want to do. So max trailing buy 0.215. Let's see. Like I said, I changed the min buy balance, lowered that down. I changed this min buy volume. This is in Bitcoin. So 750 Bitcoin, in volume. I want it to be trading. That's just for higher liquidity purposes, and we'll kind of get into that in 1 second. Min profit 1.25%. So that's what I want to sell at. That's the profit I want to get. So it's a little bit higher just due to the fact that we're kind of in a rebound right now, and that's something that I just wanted to get a higher percentage. So that can actually bite you if you're in a really sideways market. You might be holding on to bags quite a bit longer. So that might need to be changed at some point in the future. We're going to go over these min trailing profits, min trailing buy. This is another thing I wanted to go over is minutes for longer term trend. I changed this to the 1 day candle. So 1440 is 1 day. And then I have the shorter term trend is at 30 minutes. I just feel like that was a better spread in this sort of market. And I saw a couple other people using this setting too. And it seems to be working pretty well. So I like this. Number of pairs. This is also something when I'm doing my settings and I'm just testing them, I keep this very low. So I'll keep this at 5 to 8 pairs. And then when I like the settings and I think that the percentages are where they should be, then I will change this to like 20 pairs and I'll lower this to like 10%. And I'll just let the bot do its thing. So down here, I'll do a more in-depth video on all this stuff down here. This is a little more in-depth, and I just don't have the time to do this today. And probably you don't want to hear about this today. But basically, this is just more math and calculations on offsets for depending on certain market conditions. So you can kind of see this, and you can pause the video and take note of what I have here. But more or less, you know, I wouldn't recommend changing any of this stuff unless you really know what you're doing, because you have to do math on some of this stuff on how to figure out how, you know, what is the bot actually going to do when you have, you know, trailing profit offset at -10. And so I can do a video explaining kind of what this stuff does, but you don't want to throw your bot out of whack. So what I want to do is go over the wiki real quick. So I'll go over the all trailing profit, and we'll do this real fast. Basically, it's a decimal value that's greater than or equal to 0. It's used with the game strategy. So in short, it tries to trail the profits upwards to gain better profits. More detail on how that works is in here in this story. So what we'll do is we'll go to that story, and it'll explain it pretty well. So let's say that your sell settings and pairs configuration are all sell value is equal to 1. So that's that percentage that you want to sell at. You want to sell at a 1% gain. All trailing profit is equal to 0.25%. So basically how it works is the coin will rise to 1% and the bot will say, okay, I'm watching you now, but I'm not going to sell yet because we have this all trailing profit set up at 0.25%. So the coin rises up to 1.5% and the bot is going to say, you know, we're still watching, but where's the downtrend? And then the coin drops to 1.35%. So the bot is going to say, okay, it's dropping, but has it reached that threshold, that 0.25% drop? And it's going to say no, so it's still watching it. So then next, in this scenario, the coin rises to 6%. Now the bot's not going to sell yet because it never dipped below that 0.25%. So you just partook on a 6% rise. So the coin then will drop to 5.74%. And all of a sudden, that's when your bot says, all right, we're selling it. And so that's the coolest thing about Profit Trailer is it's literally trailing the profits on the way up. And then it's also working in the same regard on the way down when you have your buy value set up. So there's trailing buy, which works the same exact way, but on the downtrend. And so I'll do this real quick, but say you have your bot set up and it's buying in this region. Okay. So you bought, it's going to look for 1%. Okay. So it's still going and your 1% is here. Now that's great because this candle continues upwards and it goes all the way up to 2%. Okay. Now in this example, this candle starts to decrease in the next, like this next candle over starts to decrease. So all of a sudden now you're losing percentage until it hits 1.75. Now in this example, your bot is going to look to sell. It's going to take the next ask price and it's going to sell immediately. And you're going to partake in that 1.75% profit. And the reason that's so cool is because with a lot of trading bots, they, you set a literal set limit on what you're going to sell it at. So you would have sold it at 1% right here if you had a 1%. But Profit Trailer will trail it all the way up. And then you have that, this trailing profit set up. And so you get to partake in an extra 0.75% profit. And that's really cool. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. I know it's super basic, but the same thing works on the way down with trailing buy. So it won't buy up here. It'll end up buying towards the bottom or maybe in this region where this green candle starts to come back. So with that said, as usual, if you don't have Profit Trailer or PT Feeder, I'm of the opinion it's a good time to get it. I have links in the description if you want to support the channel and whatnot. If not, do you. Also, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. So I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Later.